It's a real pleasure to be asked to speak to friends and members of the English department at the University of Wyoming. As you know, I am a graduate of the English department at UW. I graduated in 1980 and was in the Honors College at that time, which was a fairly new institution. And I really feel so grateful for my education at Wyoming. I think English is a launching point for people. And I think you have to be very open to opportunities that might come your way. I was very fortunate when I was a senior to have two different job offers. One was with Mountain Bell Telephone, which now doesn't exist. I also was given the opportunity to go work with Senator Alan Simpson. What an English major does is teach you to think. It teaches you to write. It teaches you to be critical. It teaches you to be curious. I'll tell you, being able to critically think and then put your thoughts together, either in spoken or written word, being a good, solid writer is a huge advantage in this world that we live in, because not everyone has that skill set, and we learn it as English majors. Whether you're a creative writing major or a literature major, you've had to write a lot and make your thoughts clear and succinct and learn how to edit. And I think that editing skill, whether it's verbal or in written form, is a huge benefit to you. I had an amazing professor named Janice Harris, who her husband Duncan Harris was also in the English department. And Janice made us read hard things. So we read the Canterbury Tales in the original Old English. I remember thinking at the time, why am I doing this? What does this bring to me? You know, I still remember having to do that really hard translation work and think about what were the messages that were trying to be communicated there. I was so honored to be asked to give the commencement speech at the University of Wyoming this year. And that was a key message that I put into my speech was, don't be afraid to do hard things. And I learned that in so many different ways, certainly from Janice and that hard work in college, but more importantly from Alan Simpson. And I'm so lucky that was part of my career path. And when I went to law school after I had worked for Senator Simpson, I focused on securities and finance and ended up working at the Securities and Exchange Commission. When I was asked to leave the legal field, I had been named a general counsel of a very large utility in the Southeast called Duke Energy. And that was a very challenging and prestigious role, and I loved what I was doing. But the CEO of the business at the time saw something in me that I thought I had, but I wasn't always sure. And that was a good business acumen and good business perspective. And he invited me to go run a large division of our company in Houston, Texas, the natural gas pipeline business. Wow. And I tell you that story because I think it's really important to just say yes. You should have confidence in yourself and just say yes. And I did. I went on to run a natural gas pipeline. We took that company public on the New York Stock Exchange. I then left there and ran another big division of a renewables energy company. I had no real knowledge of manufacturing or I knew renewables to a certain degree from an electricity standpoint, but I didn't really know that industry. But someone believed in me and I said yes. And I just encourage anyone listening to this little interview to be open to that, to trust what others see in you and to take advantage of opportunities that may not seem directly in your own pathway, but because they've been put in front of you, they're probably there for a reason, and you ought to say yes. This degree gives you, it really opens the world to you. We had a visiting professor, his name was John Wideman. And John Wideman was an African-American from Chicago, very, very different background. I grew up in Laramie in a very stable household and supportive household. John grew up in a Chicago that was not that way. And he wrote about it. And he actually won the Man Booker Award. And he was quite a professor for us to have access to. So I would tell you, wander around inside that English major and wander around the university. You don't have to stay in the English department. If you're an English major, you can take classes in physics, and you should, and accounting, and you should. So much interesting work being done on campus right now. And it's such a pleasure for me to be involved again on campus with the foundation board and other things. I would tell you there's a push for experiential learning and for internships. We're trying to get businesses to, bring opportunities to our students. They will benefit from having an English major just as much as they will from an engineering student. And be sure you take that experiential learning opportunity. It will widen your scope and give you, I think, a better view of the opportunities that'll be out there.